Each year, thousands of leaders, innovators, and forward thinkers gather at Workday Rising to explore what's next in the changing world of work. We've unlocked the vaults on our most impactful conversations, and we're bringing them directly to you. We dove deep into the strategies and insights shaping our collective future, so prepare to be inspired, challenged, and empowered to make a change. This is the Future of Work podcast, recorded live at Workday Rising.
Welcome back to Workday Rising, live from San Francisco. Workday recently signed a definitive agreement to acquire Paradox, a company specializing in conversational AI for candidate experience. This acquisition will streamline and personalize the job requisition process and application process, particularly for high-volume frontline industries globally, which encompasses nearly 3 billion workers. Today, I am joined by Paradox CEO Adam Godson to talk about the vision behind Paradox, why the acquisition is such an exciting step forward for Workday, and what it means for the future of total workforce management. Adam, thanks for joining me.
Dave, thanks for having me. It's fantastic to be with you.
It's so great to have you here with us today. It's something that I think we've been all trying to work for a long time. I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you. It's exciting, and the team and I couldn't be more excited to be here.
That's great. Well, why don't you share some of that excitement with those listening and tell us a little bit more about what is Paradox?
Sure. Paradox is conversational AI for talent acquisition. And as you mentioned, we've gained a specialization in the frontline worker and solving the challenges that are often overlooked in hiring for frontline industries in restaurant, retail, healthcare, manufacturing, where hiring has a different process and has deserved different methods of recruiting. And we've found a fantastic fit for conversational AI in that. And over the last 9 years, we've been able to build a company with over 1,000 clients and some fantastic impact for those clients that we're proud to serve. So and now we're even more excited to join Workday and join forces to do even more.
Yeah, that's incredible. Tell me, so you mentioned the incredible impact that you've had for those thousand customers. And I've seen some stats that I think 70% conversion rates and some of these other key elements. What does some of that impact look like for your customers?
You know, the impact is we've got lots of clients that can tell fantastic stories. One that's really consistent is speed, and being able to staff a restaurant or a store, and be able to do that because you can hire faster. And
Sure.
Early on, we went to see clients in the field, and we walk into a restaurant or a retail store, and they'd tell us it took 20 days, 30 days to hire someone, and we thought it could just be done so much faster. And after the implementation of Paradox, we see times that are 2 days, 3 days to get hired. And there was nothing special happening in those 18 or 20 days it was all waiting or waste. And so
Sure.
We're really proud of being able to help people hire faster and have better staffing rates and lots of the impact that we've been able to have on our clients.
Yeah, so hiring faster is not a new challenge for customers. I mean, talent acquisition's been burdened with trying to reduce time to fill and get people into roles faster. And so it's not a new problem, but and I've seen tons of customers try to solve time to fill and getting people in roles quicker in so many ways.
Yeah.
What is it that you saw that gave you all such a powerful solution to that sort of age-old problem for talent acquisition?
Yeah, a mix of process redesign based on technology, the actual technology of conversational AI, and then using messaging with SMS or WhatsApp and being able to use that as a new medium. And so those three things in combination, we were able to really boil down the process to its core. When it used to be when you walked into a store, you would fill out a job application and you would hand it to the person at the counter, and then you'd leave and wait. Sure. And that's such a weird process. Like you would never do that if you were selling someone something.
Totally.
Come in and shop in our store and then leave and maybe we'll call you, but probably not. You wouldn't do that. And so being able to have someone be able to complete the process right there. I happened to be at a quick service restaurant last week near Chicago, and I got a chance to talk to an applicant that got hired. And it was such an interesting thing. He wasn't looking for a job. He went through the drive-through. He said, I kind of need some cash. He saw something to text on the receipt. It said, now hiring, text this number. He did it between the first and second window of the drive-through. He got the interview scheduled for the next day, and the next day he worked there.
Yeah,
and
that's
and just
incredible.
that speed. But it was the process to be able to schedule the interview based after he answered some questions to qualify him. It was the fact that you could use text messaging, and then it was the automation in the process that made it happen. And it was just a cool moment. Like, there's someone standing before me that wouldn't have been there if it
Sure.
hadn't been for the tech and the process.
Yeah, and so I think like the process and being willing to shift and look at that, that's a really good example of the technology that maybe didn't exist before for things like conversational AI, conversational experiences, and like scheduling at the moment that they're there. It seems like a really clear value to get that person while they're there in the store, especially
Absolutely.
in frontline, to get value. I have to imagine that like for some organizations that might have required a bit of like a mental model shift or a way that they
No
think
question.
about how they do. And how do customers think about that?
Yeah, it really is being sure we get their appetite to change and be able to show them the business value that similar clients have gotten, and
Sure.
be able to get them into what could be for them. And what I love about our product is that the time to value is super fast. I was thinking about a large restaurant chain that when they came to us, they had 80 locations at critical staffing levels, and they got a daily report of this like red, yellow, green, and we implemented, and implementations are always hard. But the first day we started to hire people, and it took 2 weeks, and almost the entire sheet was green.
Wow.
And so the climb out of the hardness of implementation, the challenges there is so fast because the business value is there. They're fully staffed. The managers like their jobs again, and being able to make a huge difference quickly is something I find really gratifying.
Yeah, that's such a great story. And I think, when you talk about the technology process and mental model change, not all technology is equal. I think this is an area where you've also built a really deep like domain context. Like Paradox, from what I've seen, like
Yeah.
really understands the domain space of hiring, such that like the solutions and AI that you've put behind this are really tuned for those workflows. Tell me a little bit about that like journey and how that helps you serve your customers.
Yeah, and I think so much has been frankly overcomplicated in hiring, and some of the systems that we've used over the years, you and I have both been doing this a long time, forced that. Like some of the early applicant tracking systems had one workflow, and you had to mash in
Everybody
all your
went for
types
it.
of workers into one workflow. And
Yeah.
that's silly. You would never do that before a system. You would always say like, no, your executive is going to hire differently than your frontline workers.
Yeah.
And so in some ways it's a back to basics moment where you're now saying we want to design specific experience for many types of workers.
Sure.
And being able to do that. One of our my aha moments was visiting a restaurant and looking at an application with a hiring manager, and just asking like, what are you looking at? Like, how are you making this decision?
Sure.
Like, they'd picked the application on a piece of paper out of the box and said, I'm going to decide whether to call this person.
Yeah.
And they said, well, I'm looking to see if they're at least 16 years old, because it has to be 16 years to work here. I'm looking to see if they have any relevant experience. That would be nice. I want to know if they're eligible to work in this country, and I want to see if they can work the hours. And so what we did is we just re-engineered the process, and guess what? We
Looking
just
for those things.
We just asked the questions.
Yeah.
Instead of saying fill out this long application with like, hey, what was the address of your job 3 jobs ago, and things that are totally irrelevant.
Yeah.
We just asked those questions. Are you 16? Can you work these hours? Can you lift this box? What are the things you really need to know? And then schedule the interview, and then carry on with any of the administrative stuff you have to do after you've got the interview scheduled, right? So I think you're right that by having so many frontline workers that we serve, our teams have great domain expertise in best practices and recommendations they can make to make huge gains for our clients.
Yeah, that makes. I mean, in hindsight, you look back at it and it makes so much sense.
It seems so simple,
it seems
but
so
we've been
simple.
doing it differently for decades.
I remember. Yeah, even the application stories of being able to have different applications for different role types and a point in time that was innovative, and catching that up in frontline is going to make a huge difference. I want to bring us back a bit to the mission and the vision for Paradox. I know I've heard you all talk about the mission being to free up recruiters and hiring managers and hiring teams to spend more time with people.
That's right.
And less time with software. What inspired that?
Yeah, I think I started my career as a recruiter, and it's the people connection that is unique and important about that role.
Sure.
And whether that's a recruiter to a candidate or a hiring manager to a candidate. And I think as we looked at companies doing recruiting, we found that they were using lots of systems and spending lots of time clicking and spending lots of time doing administrative work and not talking to people. And we saw AI as a new technology that could free people up to spend more time with people and not software. And that was a paradox, and thus the name. So that's the name.
Where the name comes
That's where the name comes from.
The paradox.
The paradox is that you use AI technology to spend more time with people, not software.
That's awesome. I love the origin story of that, of like trying to really get to like where you can add value and separate recruiters from the maybe mundane or process-oriented task completion and have them connect with people. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, it's easy to fall into a trap where you think about anything related to AI in a process as being impersonal. And it's for us, it's not falling into that trap to say it's actually more personal. If we can get, we'll schedule 32 million interviews this year. So that's about 1 out of every 10 interviews in the US is scheduled by Paradox.
1 out of every 10 of the interviews scheduled in the U.S. scheduled by Paradox.
Yeah, we do one every second.
Whoa.
And so there's massive volume there. And I started in my career automating interview scheduling in like 2011. And people would say, that's very impersonal. And I think what we learned is this: people want it to be fast and right. Like no one's getting self-actualization from the conversation to schedule the interview.
Sure.
It needs to be accurate. And we want to connect people as fast as possible. And so we think that we're clearing out a barrier to build connection by automating that part of the process and using AI in a way that helps build human connection.
Yeah, I love it. Human connection. I think when we think about like Workday's vision of total workforce management and supporting all roles and all types of hiring, this is about more than just frontline. It's more than Tell me a little bit how you think about that.
Yeah, of course. Actually, interview scheduling is a good example of that. So it's certainly not just at the frontline. It's about global companies and the complexities are great in interview scheduling. It's one that if you think about it for a moment, it may seem like an easy problem. If you give it a few more moments, you realize there's language often, and geography, and time zones, and room booking, and all the things that go along with interviews, getting the right information at the right time, and calendar integrations, and there's some significant complexity there. And so we built our system to handle that complexity, working with our great Workday integration and other systems as well, to be sure that we can deliver interviews and make that human connection as fast as possible. So all of the stack and panel and sequences and breaks and tours, all the complexity that can come with interviews, Paradox is able to handle that elegantly and be sure that people are getting connected and not spending time on those administrative tasks.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you talked about interview scheduling and a couple other areas. My understanding is we already have, although we just announced the intent to acquire Paradox quite recently, we've been working together for a long time.
Yes.
And we already have a number of customers live on integrations today, right?
That's true. We've got 5 certified Workday integrations.
5 certified
we
already.
Have,
wow.
We have over 200 mutual customers that we've served, many of them for more than 5 years together. So these are well-worn roads, and I think that's what makes me excited about our ability to get to start quickly and as we become part of Workday. And this is new in some senses, but it's also old friends getting together and being sure that we're going down a proven road together where we know how to do these things, and it's about scaling and activating new clients.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think it's I'm so excited, having led talent acquisition and the talent pillar at Workday for some time now, that last year we were able to deliver a best of breed AI capabilities through the acquisition of HiredScore.
Right.
This year, we're able to deliver best of breed conversational experiences for candidates and scheduling through Paradox. I think it's just a really compelling time, I think, for Workday and Workday talent acquisition customers who now have the capability to have best of breed solutions.
Absolutely. And I think the ability to help all that work together and work together with the HiredScore team, I'm really excited to work with you and that team going
Thanks,
forward.
Adam, me too.
Yeah. But HiredScore has been one of our oldest partners, even back to 2017 when we were both young companies. The match was clear. And so really through the demand of clients, we were working with HiredScore and had special integrations with them. And so that fit has been clear for a long time, and I'm really excited to continue that journey and bring it all together.
Yeah, that's incredible. Maybe we finish quickly with what's one thing you think people listening should know about Paradox? What should they do next?
Yeah, I think one of the questions I get asked a lot is, AI. Everyone wants to do AI. Where should I start?
Sure.
And how do I get adoption in my organization? And my advice to them is typically just start.
Just
and,
start.
And getting, and start where there's a pain point and where there's a clear win. And in many organizations, that's interview scheduling. To be able to get a clear win there, it's obvious the ROI is fantastic, and you'll get to do more projects after you get that done. Frontline can be our apply product to help do text to apply, other things there. But just start, get a win, don't overthink it, and then the projects will come from there.
Thanks for joining, Adam. For those of you watching, we hope you found this conversation insightful.